I started sleeping with my bedroom door open. I recently moved into a new apartment with my dog, Marbles. It's not a nice place whatsoever, but it's the only option I had. I'm starting a new job and I barely had any money to cover rent, ramen, dog, and food, and a Netflix subscription. So I settled on this small, dirty, cheap apartment on the outskirts of town. Partly because it's cheap, partly because it's pet friendly. But no, it isn't ideal. But it's only temporary while I had some save up cash. The apartment is small with only 3 rooms. The first room you enter is the kitchen slash living room, with a hallway in the back. The door at the end of the hall leads to the bathroom. The hallway is a door on the right side to the bedroom. I don't have any furnishing or personal belongings, so the apartment remained very bare. I never bothered to worry about sprucing the place up, but it was just a temporary home. We had been in the apartment for a few weeks, and everything had been fine. As we really settled into the place, Marbles took a liking to the couch in the living room. It wasn't my couch, it came with the apartment. Well, Marbles started sleeping on the couch at night. That said, Marbles likes to get up and relocate in the middle of the night. She would get up and come to the bedroom door and hope to get inside. I always sleep with the door closed, so she would start to whine and paw at the door. Marbles had long claws that she hated getting cut, so you could hear her walking throughout the apartment if you were awake, and it made her pawing pretty loud. After a few nights of this, I just started leaving the door open for her. From then on, she would come in and get in bed with me at all the times of the night. This never bothered me. Many more weeks with nothing noteworthy happening. Well, one long weekend, my binging session of Netflix lasted much longer than usual. I was still up at 2 o'clock in the morning. I was just wrapping up Stranger Things, Season 2, when out of the corner I saw it. In the doorway to the hallway, there was something peeking at me. I turned directly at it, looked at the top of half a face, peeking from the left side of the doorway. The only thing I could see were 2 eyes, beady and black, staring at me. I was frozen, not sure if it was fear or shock stopping from me moving. I blinked. It was still there. After a few more seconds, I started panicking and yelled, "Who are you? Get out!" For a few more seconds, it kept staring, then slowly began to pull away and out of view. Once I could no longer see it. It took a few moments once I could get control of my body. Once I had, I jumped out and slammed the door, locking it. Marbles had been laying in bed with me, was now sitting up another. I called the police and told them someone had broken into my apartment. After a while, them knocking on the front door, eventually I mustered the courage to step out of my room and run to the front door. They investigated and the landlord was called. No one was found in the apartment. And when the police had arrived, the front door was still locked from when I got home. There was no signs of breaking and entering, but I insisted I saw someone. The police did one more sweep in the apartment before leaving, telling me there was nothing more they can do. The landlord, to whom I must give credit, swapped out the locks the next day, giving me all the new keys. He told me that it was possible a tenant still had a set of keys to the room, and I'd come in. The thought unnerved me, but the more I thought back on it, the less human thing seemed to be. I took a few weeks and many sleepless nights to go back to normal, if you could call that. I told myself that I could handle the stress, that I would only be here for a little while longer. During that time, I almost bought a baseball bat, which I now kept beside my bed. Now I still keep the door to the bedroom open at night, but only slightly ajar so Marbles could slip in and out. I didn't feel comfortable seeing the doorway where that thing could have been. One night, Marbles came in and hopped into the bed, like she usually does. She settled down and rested her head on my thigh, a common occurrence. I had been asleep, and as I started drifting back off to sleep, I heard a sound, and it was a familiar sound of scratching on the floor. It was Marbles' nails on the floor as she walked. It came from the living room and was approaching the bedroom door. I was facing the side of the room toward the door, and I opened my eyes. Marbles was there, pushing the door. open and coming in. A chill ran down my spine. Slowly I looked over, looked at the thing on my bed. It was there. The thing was resting its head on my thigh, looking right into my eyes. For a second I got to look at it. It had a humanoid form, but it was impossibly inhuman. Its face was horrible. Those horrific black beady eyes, long black hair, and a mouth without lips. Its body was elongated. It looked as I thought it was made up of only bones with skin wrapped tightly around them. Its face started to creep closer to mine. I was finally able to move. I threw the blanket over the thing and jumped out of the bed, running to the front door. I could hear it scurrying behind me along with Marbles running behind. When I got to the door, I turned to see both Marbles and the thing falling. Marbles made it to the door first, and when she was out, I slammed the door closed. I heard and felt the thing slammed against the door, scratching and banging against it. I could also hear its raspy breathing. Eventually, it all went quiet. My phone went inside. But after a while, one of the neighbors opened the door after frantic knocking. They phoned the police for me. The police weren't as friendly as this time, but I told them I trapped the person inside the apartment. The police found nothing. I couldn't believe they scolded me and told me that if I called again for this, I'd be arrested. I felt like I was going insane. Refusing to go back alone, the landlord accompanied me while I packed all my belongings. I wasn't staying here any longer. My parents had an extra room they offered me. It was going to take a long back before I felt comfortable being alone again. I'm typing this all out from my parents' house, laying in the guest room. Well, a few paragraphs ago, I noticed something. Over in the corner is a closet with folding doors. It's slightly open. And in the crack of the doors, I can see two beady black eyes staring right at me.